the third Tom in quick succession, so well done. You can basically say Tom and we'll all turn around. But we're going to introduce you today to Synamedia Senza, which is a product that Synamedia have launched very, very recently, maybe about a month ago. From that perspective, it's been in development for about 3 years. And so we'll introduce it. This is it in my hand, but we'll show you running on the screen in a second. So it is real. But a little introduction about Synamedia. We've been around in various guises for maybe about 20, 30 years, and I think I've been here for about 20 of them. So I started when I was at WeHire, and I'm really not as old as I look. But we're going to talk our way through it, and I'll show you what it is. So I don't know quite why I've got a slide here with nothing on it, but the next slide is what is it? So I have one in my hand, but we have a lovely graphic of it here. And what it is it tries to remove all the limitations of a device. So this device, there you are, you can have a look at that and pass that around, is the cheapest, the dumbest, the least powerful set-top box you'll ever put your hands on. If I'd have held that up 20 years ago, it would have been stupid then. Okay, it is really dumb. No, I can promise you. But what we've done with that is we've turned it into the most powerful device in the world. And the way we've turned it into the most powerful device in the world is we've connected it to the cloud. That device is basically a crash merge of everything that you would see in a gaming technology. So you take a gaming technology like Steam or NVIDIA GeForce Now or something like that. You take all the low latency technologies you get on the internet, and they've become more prevalent since COVID because you now have Teams calls everywhere. Everyone knows how to do WebRTC, low latency stuff. So we crash merge it with a set-top box and the set-top box functionality in the set-top box world. We host a browser in the cloud, and what the result you get is that box. And that box its sole purpose is to present video frames and send the key presses from my remote back up into the cloud. So why does that work? And that works in a really, really clever way from a commercial perspective. So as an engineer, you're always looking for the way to make things, and I apologize for this. This didn't look like this when I wrote it this morning. So why does that work? Most of the time, if I've got a set-top box in the home, I have got a device which I've spent the time and effort to design a GPU into it. That GPU is probably unnecessarily hobbled if you're lucky, if you've got 3D transforms or anything else like that. And most of the time it sits in your home, and that is not being used. It's not being used when it's powered off. And even when your device is powered on, you're actually just doing decoding. So you've got a GPU sat in your device that you've paid 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks for, and it's being used, we reckon on average, about 12 to 15 minutes a day. That's ripe for being picked out by the cloud. So the way that we do this, we say, actually, what I'll do is I'll buy 15 minutes of cloud, and I'll give it to you. And when you finish with it, I'll take it back and I'll give it to you. And when you finish with it, I'll take it back and give it to you. And if I don't need any of it, then I stop buying it in the cloud. So the auto scale goes up at peak times, and it comes down at quiet times. And so I've just taken 30 bucks, and I've time shared it, and I've made my whole service much, much cheaper. Okay, the only difference is I'm now paying for network. The network becomes more prevalent, it becomes more powerful, it becomes low latency. Everyone's trying to fix that for Teams and everything else, so it's the same tech. So what you end up with, we hope, is a super powerful browser running in the cloud on an NVIDIA. Really, really fast talking to this. This slide, it fails to waste all the resources. It allows me to control the experience. I can develop it like a web page. So when you talk about connected TVs, you write a HTML5 app. All we've done is connect this to a browser in the cloud, and I can show you all of that in a minute. Okay, it runs HTML5, it runs JavaScript. It's a Chrome browser. Okay, so all of the time, I mean, I've done this for 20 years, and I can remember, I did HTML4 on set-top boxes. I am that old. Okay, we hobbled that because it was a restricted environment. We put Java on set-top boxes. We hobbled that because it was a restricted environment. We put ActionScript, yes, remember Adobe, anybody, on set-top boxes, okay? That we hobbled as well. We've even put HTML5, and more recently, you get set-top boxes with 2 gigabytes RAM and all the rest of it. That's still hobbled in today's world. What we do here is we take it, we put it in the cloud. That box has got, I'm trying to remember that now, 128 mega RAM. Okay, it's got next to nothing in it. Okay, so for the first time, I've got a browser running in the cloud that isn't hobbled. I can do 3D, I can do everything else that I want to be able to do. So how does it work in practice? Here's the bazillion mile high marketing slide. Okay, obviously there's a lot more to it than this. But ultimately what you have is a Chromium browser built into Senza. You have your application, you host it on the internet like a web page, and all of the stuff that you see on the screen in a minute is all web pages. It's all written in web pages, event key presses going to your web page. You take your existing ABR VOD files. So we've designed it to insert into the CTV world, the OTT world. So you take your ABR VOD files and you pass them through either your own CDN or through the platform, and then it all appears in my little cloud connector at the bottom, which I hope is passing around and I haven't lost it. Lovely, thank you, Tom. See, I can say Tom, and I'm about right. So I want to show you a little bit around it. So on the screen over here, what you're actually looking at is, lo and behold, a HTML5 app. We've all seen them before. We know how they work, React, all the rest of that. Good stuff. Okay, but what I can do with it is I've got about a 250 millisecond round trip time. So it's about the same as a mid-range set of boxes. I know some of them are faster than that, some of them are slower than that. I've got an NVIDIA Shield, which I usually wave around at this point, that sort of thing. Okay, but I have got the power of an NVIDIA Shield running in this device. So if I want to plug it into an AI engine, for example, I can do. All right, that's actually running it on 3-4 different graphics planes. Okay, and I can go into that application, I think. And so you start with a world of 2D posters. You plug it into whatever you find on the internet. And we found an AI engine, and bosh, AI generated graphics for really no effort at all. Most of these demos we created within a day, within half a day, and then we started polishing them up a little bit to make them nice, but you can see roughly where this goes. I've got 3D graphics generated by an AI engine. This day and age, that's not particularly hard, but to do it on a set-top box is incredibly hard. You don't have the graphics capability to do that. If I want to take us out of this, and I'll try this way, I can do some other things in here because I've got an NVIDIA graphics card behind me. So where a set-top box today will have one decoder, if you're lucky it's got 2 decoders. My favorite part of this is of course, whenever you write an application, you write an application to the lowest common denominator. So even if your set-top box has got 4 decoders, all right, you're writing it to have to 1, okay, because you want it to work on the widest range of platforms. And we'll talk about the cost of this in a minute, because the cost of this makes this like a no-brainer. So I can go around and I can say, well, actually, I can do 2, and I can just keep adding them because it's all being done by my browser in the cloud, re-rendered for me. I can pause and I can control every single one of them. I can play with that in the cloud. I could write myself some. We keep looking at anybody a Formula One buff here, right? All of that stuff where you've got all the Formula One statistics. Somebody sent me a photo of like 10 screens plugged into a Formula One stats page, and it was all playing it all out real time. Yes, you could do that with this, okay? Really, really easily. That's exactly what it's for. So you can go around and you can work your way around that. I can unpause that one, pause that one. It's I am literally showing you the internet, and there's that you know, that IT crowd thing where they walk in with a box and a red light, and here's the internet. Here is the internet. What else can I do? Well, if I really want to, I can use other features in the browser, features that you don't get in TV browsers. So I can turn around and I can say, well, actually, I'm going to plug this into my IoT protocols. I can plug this into Google. I can go and say, well, actually, if I want to any online service, I can turn it into. So we picked a calendar. It's not the most exciting demo. But for those of you who's got a phone, right, you ready? Okay, good. And so I can also plug it into the WebRTC world. Okay, so I can take the WebRTC that's running on my browser, which is running in the cloud, and I can have it connect. And hopefully, Nico's going to sort this out for me. So what you're seeing now is WebRTC over WebRTC. Okay, all right. So we could keep going. You can go for as long as you like with this. Okay, so I can say, okay, WebRTC, and if somebody else wants to go on there, I can do them as well, and we can just, again, all I'm now doing is I'm building an infrastructure from a browser which is hosted in the cloud. You can do it on a laptop, you can do it here. So for the first time, and I said at the beginning, I've done this for 20 years, we've done HTML4, okay, for the first time we're offering you a browser that is as capable as a browser you would find on a PC. You don't have to start to do all those horrible things where somebody runs out of RAM. Okay, I can actually see the memory leaks and I can see the memory go up, and at some point we will stop you, but at least that's fine. So, I think there's one more demo in here, and do you have the password for this? Okay, right, fine. I can give somebody the password to this if they want to try it. Now on. So give me a second while I go and grab it. So it's, yeah, you should be presented with a page. Hang on. No, they haven't sent me the password. Yeah, so it should be, I think it's, sorry, I should have set this up earlier. Well, let's see if that works. And if it doesn't, then we'll move on. No, that's not going. Right, no, never mind. What I was going to show you is the fact that I can use the device as a, again, WebRTC. I can use it to control the device. I can swipe up, I can swipe down, I can control where I go. I can pretend I've got a mouse, even though I don't have a mouse. But what I really wanted to show you, and this is where we start to have a little bit of fun, is under the hood here, and I am going to do the thing that they tell you not to do in presentations. They tell you not to hot swap stuff. So I'm going to hot swap it. And just give me a second. And I will hot swap this because I really want to show that this really is a browser. Get me in, please. So there's the remote for that. And this was working earlier and is not working now, which is a very annoying thing for it to do. But what I was going to show you is the fact that I can develop for this, he says. And the way that I develop for this is a browser in the cloud. Right, this is what happens when you ad lib things. Never mind. Right. Come and find me later for that one. Let's give it one last try. Right. Okay, so what else we've got inside the system is obviously there's a key here for your own apps. And your own apps run in here, and this has stopped working. I'm having a nightmare. All right, so what we do have is we have a button here which is the content app. Okay, so every single app runs in its own workspace, its own secure workspace, and you can move between applications on here. So every single application that you see, which is effectively a tab on a web page, as I select on there, I can move between tabs, and as I move between the tabs, I can effectively switch the application that I'm running. So I'm basically using a WebRTC application, a HTML application, to switch between other HTML applications. So we're just sort of following that through, and so I can't get into there. So I am going to see if I can find a picture of it. So in that world, it looks a lot like you see on the right hand side here. So it's your average page, and you pay to go into there and you work on there, and you can build your own apps. So if you want to sign up to this, you go to our portal, it will sign up, it will create you an account, it gives you the developer environment, the developer tools, simulator. You're allowed to play with it as much as you like, and you can create whatever you want to do. So part of this is we don't really know what you can do with it. There's a world of things that online services that you can take. Whether you want to take a Google Calendar, or you want to take a Domino's app, you want to take an IoT app, anything that you can do from a web service in the cloud, you can now do through here more than you can do it through a set-top box because you've got all that capability that you would generally have. So effectively the device itself, I said it was dumb. It's about $5 to $10. So the idea here is we turn around and we say, okay, here's a cheap, very, very, very cheap device, and it's got all of that power. And the cost of running the service, because we're only running it for 15 minutes a day for a user or whatever else, it's actually not that much. So we can turn around and we can say, okay, we can run with that and we can play that way. That's Senza, a little bit shorter than I'd have hoped for, but what was my timing?
That's perfect. That's 15 minutes.
All right, thank you. Cheers.